Hey, how's it going today? It's Frankie here and welcome to Funny Fridays. And I am not sure whether this is a comedy or a drama. Obviously it's a comedy because I went into the comedy section. I went into stoner comedies. And obviously stoner comedies for me are funny. Just simply because of how people act when they're high in these shows or movies, and the way they talk. It depends on the characters as well. But this movie right here, I don't really know what to make of it. It's called A Fistful of Karma. And when I heard about it, read about it, I was just like, you know what, this sounds funny, this sounds like it's up my street. Again, I got conned. I mean, I'm getting sick and tired of these type of movies coming up now. I'm gonna have to resort to something better than this, because I'm giving up nearly entirely, because any movie I choose sounds good, it ends up being terrible. I have no idea what to make of it. I probably won't be talking about the whole movie. I'm probably going to be summarising up as best as I can, because I don't know, I might be getting confused with the characters in these scenes, and I'll probably be missing some stuff out, because nearly an hour 40-minute movie. So yeah, it's the first time I've seen a movie like that for a while with that duration. And there's a lot of talking in it. It just basically was a bit boring. It didn't feel there was any comedy in it. It just felt like a straight up drama. And I looked at the IMDb site, my favourite site to look at, more accurate, better detail. And it kind of says it's a comedy as well. So, and when I looked on the that site I watched the movie on, it says comedy. So they thought it was that good that they had to say it twice, basically, which is disappointing, to be honest. I got conned into it. It's terrible. The movie's it was just boring. It just felt like I was watching some sort of drama. Let me get straight into it, right? It's about these people that own like a retreat, and a guy called Malcolm, and is like no, I wouldn't say. I mean, what do you call that? People like people the issues come in as well with Malcolm, and they're there to stay at the retreat that's owned by Val, Xena, Crispy, and Mosquito Pete. I think they call him Mosquito Pete because he gets seen by mosquitoes a lot. I don't know, maybe they prefer him a lot more. I have no idea. And there was not really much to report. They talk about their problems as you would do if you go on a retreat like this. They just talk about how it's like it's kind of like spiritual growth and well-being or something like that. It's like similar type when people go to meditation type stuff, and they do yoga involved as well. Not only yoga, it keeps people active and fit, but the way these people are doing stuff like this, it just feels strange when they were doing it. Getting about their issues. Malcolm's is a bit stuck up in my opinion. He's got a big ego. It just felt like a lot of people in that movie were kind of stuck up, and they felt they were entitled to something, apart from the odd 1-2 characters maybe in there. But other than that, it just felt like a lot of people were stuck up in this movie. Malcolm, like, who's jealous that Xena is with Val, because that's his ex right there. I don't know what sort of a name Xena is. I think I've probably heard that name before, but it's quite rare. Cool at the same time, I guess. Especially that, a character that's in a retreat. You have Alexa, that's also a chef that comes in. And you also have like someone called Finn, who I think I'm not going to mention too much about him, because I don't want this video to, get taken down or whatever it is. But yeah, he's one that's, I think he's got some, I don't know, I'm not going to get into it. And then you have his mum what's his mum's name? Oh man, I forgot his mum's name. Yeah, there's a woman that's psychic as well, claiming to be psychic. She's a bit crazy and demented. So she was trying to warn, I think, was it Sadie or Penny from like Crispy, no, from Pete or something like that, saying he's going to do something to whatever it is. And she also stole a watch as well, but said that it was like Pete that stole it or something, whatever it was. And they all they go to a club and they drink. And you have like Val and Malcolm have a bit of like an altercation, and stuff like that. It was only funny towards the end bit. The only best thing in that movie was probably the minigun, which I didn't expect in a movie like that. That is probably the best part of the movie, where they start shooting the minigun and they start shooting the bottles, whilst Malcolm is like talking to all these people about like how to improve on themselves. Following up to when he started asking about their pain, and he starts shooting. And you could definitely tell there's a lot of tension into these people, and it's just they were fussy. So I feel like they kind of needed life in them. That's why Val, Crispy, and others did what they did, because they wanted to make it more lively, and they find it a bit boring. These people a bit nitpicky on what they want to have, and they're a bit cautious and wary. And Malcolm was force feeding them information. And I think, who was it? Was it Penny? That's the yoga person that he has an issue with, where she was actually doing quite well and he just didn't like her. And he felt like he was, I don't know. Oh yeah, not to mention as well, excuse me, they're getting filmed by a crew, right? Which is okay, fair enough. And this film crew wanted to make a series. The producer sounded condescending. I thought Malcolm was bad with his words, of how arrogant and cocky he is. You got a producer behind the camera and says, so what do you think you're going to do then in the future? Well, can you explain yourself to me? Who is this posh person behind the camera? I'm not assuming they're posh, I'm just saying because the way they're talking, they sound stuck up as well. And it's like every time they say cut, you would think, any sort of movie like that, they would cut it. Two scenes where that actually happened, and they put the camera there and they were still filming just so that they can see what's going on. I can hear it as well. I don't really, especially towards the end when they were all sitting there. Well, I think Val, Crispy, Pete, and Xena were sitting there discussing what they're going to do, and they were going to get given like $500,000 to like improve on their retreat and stuff like that. I think Malcolm was part of that. That's why they brought like some people along with him, just to help her make it like it was going good, and it wasn't. And then you have a scene where Val just like punches Malcolm. I don't know what that was. Can't remember what Malcolm said. I didn't quite get that. I don't know if he said it too quietly. I wasn't paying attention. But he gave him a right punch. I mean, he did kind of deserve it, to be fair. And no matter what age you should not be talking down to anybody in the slightest, unless you got good reason to. And yeah, there was a bit of a scene where it kind of was a tiny bit humorous, which was really expected, to be fair, of this kind of movie. It should have had this throughout the scene where Alexa told them, who did she tell to get like get like £12 a lamb? The guy went out, he got back, and instead of back getting the lamb, he got a big sheep. And then Alexa said, what the hell is that? He said, it was a sheep. I said, lamb. Well, technically, lamb is a sheep. But you find they look like very different animals. They might be related somehow to him, but well, not somehow to him. But they're I mean, I would say that they're heavily related, but in terms of meat-wise, similar, but they're different animals at the same time. So I don't really know how he came to that conclusion. Still, I mean, as long as they cooked it, which they did, that's fine. I mean, we didn't get to see it cooked. That would have been a shame, to be fair. That kind of scene kind of made me chuckle a bit. Where was that throughout the movie? Where on earth was that? That was nowhere to be seen in the movie at all. That was disappointing. That movie only paid live towards the end, disappointingly. I don't remember any other scene. I mean, apart from when, who was it so was it Val, Crispy that said to these two people, especially the one that was singing like, oh, to F off. Don't really know. I mean, that was kind of funny, I guess, but I don't know where those two came from. They was just there. So, and you got band members as well as singing. So yeah, other than that, there wasn't really much. This is probably the most easiest movie to summarize, because there isn't really many things that happen in this movie. It was just mostly talk. For a movie of this duration of time, it really isn't much to talk about. I've seen movies that are less than that, like an hour and 20, an hour and 15, that actually have more to talk about than this. But knowing me, as always, I always end up making the video longer than it should. So, again, it looked like it could be the case. But yeah, there isn't really... I mean, towards the end, you see them having a bit of a party, and then Xena comes back after, saying to Val that she's going to leave him because they're in debt or whatever it is. But then she comes back because the car battery was just frozen or whatever it is, or dead or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what it was. And then she ends up, I don't know, she was dancing with him. I didn't quite understand that. But yeah, it looked like they were having fun. The Malcolm dude got laid, you could say in one scene. Never get to see it, but we know what was happening. So that's what was happening. He was happy to be back. So Yeah, the end bit you could say was probably the best part of the movie, I guess, towards the end, where it starts getting a bit. It wasn't as chaotic as it should have been. I really don't think it was. If I like comedies that are chaotic. I know it's a stoner comedy. I know, pun intended. It's probably a relaxing, calming type of comedy because people are stoned or whatever. But it needs a bit of chaos and funny chaos, not just a stupid chaos about silly. I mean, funny kind of chaos. But other than that, there isn't anything else to report. And yeah, that was really. I don't know what it is with me. I always seem to have a habit of like I keep thinking something's at the end of the credits of movies. I don't know why. These type of movies I keep thinking, are they gonna show it? Are they gonna show behind the scenes? Are they gonna show like something extra? But I don't know what makes me think that. I didn't watch after the credits anyway, thankfully. But I just don't know why I do that. I don't know if it's a habit of any of you, but I certainly do that sometimes when I do watch these type of movies on a like site or whatever. I do have a habit of doing that. But other than that, you can watch the movie for yourself. People might like this movie. People will probably think that there's some humor in it. It all depends on how people see the movie. Like I see from like, if it's comedy, there has to be a lot of humor in scenes, which there has to be. But then there might be people that look at it and go, "Oh, this scene was actually funny to me because they either related to themselves or they actually do think the scene is funny." I don't know. It's the same with rom-coms. When I watch a rom-com, there isn't many type of scenes that are funny to me because it just feels more like they're forcing it or they just try and act funny just for the sake of it's not. But some people like rom-coms and they see it as funny. So it's just how people perceive it and how people look at it. It's like if I watch an action movie and I see it's good action and there's loads of things happening, there might be somebody that says it's boring, which is quite strange because actually there's a lot of craziness happening. That's action, but there's some people that are not into that. They kind of like a bit of cringiness or corniness in action movies, right? Which is fair enough. People are entitled to their own opinion, but when I watch this stuff, I watch with my own eyes and I listen with my own ears. And if I see something is good, I would say it instantly. Like the movie Crackheads, probably the best recent, comedy film I've seen. And I rated it a bit high, but not over the top. I like it's the best perfect comedy movie ever. But it's stuff like that I want to see. Not exactly copy, but stuff like that I want to see. Not like, this type of stuff where it's mostly dialogue and nothing comes from it. It's quite sad that movies like this get made and it gets put out there. And they just seem to be proud of it, which I don't know how. Like, yeah, you could be proud of putting a movie out, but you got to make sure it's actually up to standard. But part of me is also glad I watch these movies, just simply because it's an experience. Because nearly every movie I've seen, I have not seen on TV. I've not heard of them. I've seen the title, and I'm like, okay, sounds interesting. I can see why some of this stuff doesn't get put on TV. Maybe they get put on like where the setting for those movies are. Like if it's an American movie and it's horrible, it might be in America. Or the same with Australian movies, it might just be set in Australia, like something like that, for example. So that's probably why you never hear these type of movies, because you would probably just find on the site. But sure, they would be on TV. If they are, I would avoid those bad movies, to be honest. But yeah, rating for this. You know what? I'll give it a 3. And that's generous because I kind of like the minigun scene of it, where that's probably they needed some spiciness to the movie. And having a minigun, unusually in a movie like this, was actually quite cool. I like the concept that they need to spice up because they probably knew, there's nothing funny in this, so let's just add something crazy like a minigun. Something that makes no sense, but viewers will like it. Some people might have a different stance on it. And also because of the scene where the guy brought in, a sheep instead of a lamb. You know what? That made me chuckle. I'll give them that. That upped the rating by at least 1 or 2 right there. If they didn't have those 2 scenes in it, it's probably going to be either a solid 1 or maybe possibly 2. But a 3 is generous. I can't even say it's average. But for me, the acting was okay. The acting was actually okay. The characters were okay for a movie like this, but again, it just felt a bit depressing, especially with the with Val and Crispy and Pete in it. Just felt a bit too depressing. It probably needed a bit of spiciness to light up. But yeah, I think I stand by 3. I don't know what all you think, but you might just think it's probably worth a slightly more. But yeah, I stand by that. 3 out of 10 it is. If you enjoyed the video, please give a like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification below. So see you in my next video.